Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Supernatural, episode 1412, titled Profit and Loss, which premiered Thursday, January 31st, 2019 on the CW. I'm recording roughly 2 hours after the episode is aired, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm going to try to do this in 10 minutes, so let's start the clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, I honestly don't know how long it's been since previous episode. Maybe it's the following night. Maybe it's a day or two later on. But we're definitely on the road trip towards the ocean, since that is what Dean's plan is to do with the Malik box. But again, remember episodes 1409 and 1410 take place between January 24th and 25th, or December 24th and 25th. So as year markers, so there's that. Episode reminder, I'm going to say it has to do with profits. It's in the title itself, and it's actually titled as like profits, the Word of God version, not profits as in sales. So there's that. Storylines or episode breakdowns, I'm going to say there's 3 different ones in this episode. First one dealing with psycho profits, second one dealing with the Malik box, and third one dealing with Nick's return home. With the first storyline, we get psycho profits, so we get a new prophet named Tony coming out, yet Donatello is still alive, and there's only supposed to be one prophet existing at a given time. But eventually that leads to Castiel being able to cure Donatello because his mind was trying to rework itself in the correct order of a prophet. But Donatello is still without a soul. So he's not crazy killer Donatello anymore. So there's that. Second one with the Malik box, we have Dean having a nightmare about him being trapped inside of it, to the point like he's like trying to bang himself out. He's at the bottom of the ocean. We have the battery on his phone dying and him freaking out. So we do see that nightmare. We also see Sam trying to convince Dean throughout the episode to not do the Malik box, to do that as like the last resort, and just to have him still keep fighting to find another solution. So there's that. And the third storyline, we get Nick breaking away from his police custody at the hospital, only to go back home. I think it's in Pike Creek, where he comes across the ghost of his dead wife, Sarah, only to realize that her unfinished business is not to find her killer, but it's because of Nick's connection to Lucifer. So she wants Nick to reject Lucifer, and she can move on peacefully. Nick doesn't do that. He's now on a new path to find Lucifer. So there's that. The last scene of the episode shows Dean deciding to postpone his Malik box option until all other possibilities have been exhausted. And this is after Sam pretty much rips him a new one while he's drunk a few drinks. So there's no filter on Sam. He's gonna really let it all go. I mean, like, he even punched him at one point before hugging him and asking him, like, what? Like, I believe in us. Why don't you believe in us anymore? Type of thing. Got very emotional. I will say it. I'll bring it up later. But tidbit-wise, we do find out that in their childhood, there were times where John used to send Dean away when Dean would piss him off too much, or so that was the reason behind why Dean would quote-unquote run away. Because Dean also mentioned that there might have been a lot of times where it would seem that I was just picking Dad's side, and Dean said, like, a lot of them it was just to keep the peace. And then sometimes he said, like, when I really pissed him off, Dad would send me away. So that was a surprise there. At least it was just sending him away. I thought he might turn to, like, abuse or something. And so it's just like, but it was just a tough thing to bring up for Dean, so that was a surprise there, especially given what next week's episode is about. So there's that. But also another tidbit is the fact that we do not see Jack in this episode, but we're under the impression that Dean has not told him specifically about the Malik box, although he hasn't told Castiel about it, but Castiel knew because of Sam. So now I'm wondering, does Jack know at all about the Malik box plan, or is he left in the dark, or maybe Sam told him? No idea. So there's that. So end tally or death tally, I would have to say that the 2 on-screen deaths we saw were Tony's victims, a woman and a man. And then it almost made a third one a burning victim, but he was saved, thankfully. And then also Tony himself is a death because he killed himself after realizing that he did end up killing innocent people and not in God's name type of thing. So there's that. Moving on to most shocking moment of the episode, I will have to say it has to be Donatello being healed. I mean, I thought he was a lost cause, especially what happened to him. He was brain dead, a vegetable. But then to find out that his prophet brain is trying to rework the aspect of him being a prophet, making it possible that his brain could be brought back from the torture he endured. So it was a shock that was even a possibility. I mean, I guess it would have been a stretch if his soul was brought back with it, but now there's always the question of, is he going to go bad at some point? So as well, to repeat the cycle. So there's that. But moving on to top 3 favorite moments. I will have to say the first one is Sam's drunk speech to Dean at the very end about trying to question him, like, why don't you believe in us? Why won't you keep fighting? What you're doing is quitting on us, and just like trying to get Dean to understand, it's like, you can't stop fighting. We're the guys that save the world. You can't tap out now, type of a thing. You can't just leave me behind. You've been there my whole life. You've been taking care of me. You practically raised me. It's like, it really got emotional. I mean, you could definitely see, like with Sam, he had to get drunk in order for him to actually unleash all this that was brewing inside of him towards Dean. And just, you could really feel the emotion behind it. I was getting teary-eyed about it too. I'm not going to lie there. So it was definitely the conversation I was waiting to have, because Sam was just like going along with it. It's just like holding his tongue and stuff. But I'm glad he got drunk enough to actually spew his actual emotions about the situation to Dean. So that was a favorite there. Another favorite of mine was Dean trying to hash up their childhood memories during the drive to Iowa, I believe. And this is where we found out about John sending Dean away at times, though. And while it's a little some depressing stuff that pops up, I do appreciate what he was trying to do. And it was a favorite that, even though Dean's on a suicide mission and he feels like he has some unfinished business to kind of bring up and talk about with Sam, I do appreciate that he was in a place enough that he would put himself in that conversation. I mean, I wish it wasn't in a suicide position type of thing, but I really like what we learned. I really like that we got Sam telling Dean that it's like, you've been there my whole life, you practically raised me, type of thing. And while it does suck that Dean tried to like sway him otherwise, but I do like the atmosphere of like the emotion behind it. A lot of my favorites in the episode is really about the emotional reaction, or the emotional response that not only the characters get, but also the response that it got from me watching. So there's that. Because again, my third favorite one ended up being Dean's nightmare of him being locked in the box at the bottom of the ocean. Now, that really should not be my favorite at all. It is only my favorite because of the emotional depth that we got from the episode. It was just, for me as a viewer, it was very heartbreaking to watch, just to see Dean in that trapped position and such. But what I like about it was how much emotion we got to see from Dean. And it's just like, I don't know if that should be taken bad, but it's a favorite because of the performance, I should say. Jensen did an amazing job portraying that, the urgency of like the last moments and stuff like that. He's stuck in a little box again, because I'm pretty sure he had to do it when he had to crawl out of his own grave in 401. So if you remember that. Also, so like the desperation and the actual emotion behind that scene was really well done. So that's why it's my favorite, because of the performance that was behind it. So that was it. Also, I found it also a little ironic that Dean is willing to drown himself in that box with Michael trapped inside, when he compared his possession, when he compared Michael possessing him as him feeling like he was drowning, right? So that can't be a coincidence, right? But anyways, a lot of the favorites, like I said in this episode, really delved on the emotional impact the scene had on myself, as well as the emotion that we got to see from the characters itself. So Jensen and Jared, they did an amazing job in these scenes that I truly appreciate. I mean, Misha did a fantastic job in Castiel's scenes when he's trying to convince Dean to like not go through with the plan. But that will be an honorable mention there. So there's that. Moving on to top 3 peeve moments. The only peeve I have is Nick's search for Lucifer, because I really do not want Lucifer back. And a lot of things that Nick is trying to look for is some of the stuff that we can already assume is the answer because of the way it's been set up, right? I mean, like, it's obvious that the person who killed your family is a demon because that's what Lucifer wanted, right? We didn't need a few episodes to figure that out. So there's that. But what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? Prophets. It's in the title as well. So there's that giveaway there. But moving on to random questions very quickly. Does anyone have the feeling that once Michael is defeated, then Lucifer would be an issue again if Nick is continuing on his mission to find him? I mean, I have a really bad feeling that we're going to be trading one archangel for the other. And there's the timer. I was so close. So there's that. Another question is, if Donatello still has no soul, isn't there going to be a chance of him going bad again? Or is it as long as he stays away from Enochian or from the tablets, then that's less of a risk of him turning bad? Because it was frequent and constant exposure to the tablet when he was trying to translate. That's what twisted his non-soul self into that darker version. So that's a question there. Moving on to predictions, though, very quickly, for the promo for 1413, which is the 300th episode, mind you, is that apparently the timeline is trying to correct itself, and they have to rush to correct it to the proper version before it corrects it to the newer version. And in this newer version, Dean is a criminal, Sam is internet famous, and if they don't hurry up, then they are going to become these altered versions of themselves. So I'm left wondering, what was the moment that altered the timeline to begin with? And I mean, Dean cannot just be a criminal on another timeline. I mean, no. I mean, they even used a season 2 mugshot. So it's like, no. So there's that. But the synopsis for 1413 reads that Sam and Dean look to occult lore for a solution to their latest problem, but instead of a resolution, they find much more than either of them had anticipated. What I love about this is that if you do not know about spoilers for the 300th episode, or if you haven't seen the Entertainment Weekly special about the 300th episode, you would not know who is supposed to appear in this episode based off the promo and the synopsis. So spoiler alert right now, if you've been watching my videos or if you've been living under a rock, then congratulations, you do not know who's supposed to guest star in the 300th episode. But I'm saying it right now, John Winchester is supposed to return. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is returning as John Winchester in the 300th episode. And I love the fact that you do not see him in the promo, you do not hear a word of him in the synopsis. So it's like, from that right there, the moment you see him on screen, just from reading the promo and the synopsis itself, you're going to be surprised by his return, like no doubt about it. So I love that they did it this way. They're not teasing the surprise too much. It's really, if you're looking out for spoilers, then you'll know. But if it's just based off of these two things, you would not know at all. And I love that. Supernatural does a great job of trying to keep things hush until it needs to, and then they just spring in the surprise there for you. So I really like that. Also, another surprise thing, today they announced that Supernatural got renewed for season 15. I am super excited for this because honestly, guys, you guys do not know how much it means to me for them to reach 15 seasons, because I can honestly say now that Supernatural has been on the air for half my life. Let that sink in for a moment, because I did not just start binge watching it 2, 3, 4 years ago. I've been watching since I've been 15, and that was 15 years ago. So or technically that's 14 seasons ago, but then next year it's going to be 15, so it's going to be literally half my life, and I've always been saying it. I cannot wait for the show to reach 15, so just so I could say it's been going on for half my life. So I'm just going to stop saying it now, though, but that is such a huge thing. So now if they go to season 16, season 17, I'm going to be so thrilled. It's going to be a bonus, though, to hit 15 for me, so I'm thrilled. But I just love this show. There's so many different ways that they could take new mythologies, they can expand it. They've now they've introduced the multiverse type of theme to it. Now they're dealing with timelines. We know that it's kind of like that Titanic one that we had before. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what the 300th episode has in store for us. I'm ready to see what this season 15 has in store for us. But we do only have 7 episodes left of the season, guys. So what did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions about what you think will happen next. Also, guys, I'm thinking for the 300th episode, I might do a live reaction type of video. I'm definitely going to be recording myself, and then we'll see how long or how much footage I can actually use though. So be on the lookout for that, because what other episode am I going to do with the huge 300 milestone, right? Anyways, let's get back into the spiel of it. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog, promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am a little behind. I do apologize about that. I try to do them in bursts of updates. So I think this week will be the one I'll do it for. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. Also, WordPress account, the link for that is down below. Everything I post online is connected to WordPress. It's a little more organized. It's a little more detailed, but it's still a work in progress. So please keep that in mind as well. Also, live journal entry. Link is down below. I do summarize, jot noted versions of the episode as I watch it for the first time, so you'll get in-moment thoughts, questions, quotes, all that stuff. It helps me keep things organized in case I forget things later on, but it helps you out. Fantastic. Have a gander at it. It's usually until I wait for other people to upload transcripts of the episode if I need to, like for writing purposes, or if I just misheard a quote, then there's that. But otherwise, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I will be coming back next week to see where I have to say about the 300th episode. You gotta check that episode out. So until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.